Welcome back. We are here with another new video because this has been something that has been coming up a lot recently, and I have discovered how to help more people. So as of late, I've had more clients come to me with W-2 income saying they've got like a side hustle or they haven't yet started a business, but they're paying so much to the government in taxes. So with some digging, with some research, with working with the right people, we have discovered how to help these people. So, or not these people, but anybody really with a W-2 income. Because as most of you know, and if you hear from my TikTok or my other platforms, like I've said before, W-2 income or anybody who works as a W-2 employee gets absolutely destroyed in taxes. So this video is how to hack your W-2 income and take advantage of the greatest wealth transfer in history. And so not a lot of people are talking about this great wealth transfer either, but basically we've got all these baby boomers who are retiring, and it's the largest generation ever, and they're all retiring or passing on a business or selling a business or something. And so there is $84 trillion on the table available to especially those who in their 30s or 40s have a little bit of income to be able to expend on it. However, you have to prepare. And all of this, I'm going to go into everything I've just talked about in this presentation. So again, W-2s get destroyed by taxes with very little advantages. However, we understand that having guaranteed income or cash flow is absolutely essential. You have to pay bills. You have to take care of your family. And it's becoming more and more difficult to do that as the price of and the cost of living, the price of goods continues to increase. So what do we do about it? How do we make the transition from W-2 to business owner using your W-2 income, or even keep your W-2, retire early, or just have options, or just don't pay the government? Whatever it is, you can use more of your money than you are currently able to use simply by going through this whole process and going through what I'm about to explain.
What if I told you that the whole point to having a business is not necessarily about the business? It's simply about having the structure of a business. And this for the purpose of saving you from one of the biggest killers of wealth, which are taxes. And as long as there is an economically viable reason for the business, then you can utilize that business for the said tax advantages. In 1930, there was a Supreme Court case called Helvering versus Crickery. And the judge, Learned Hand, in that case said that there is not even a patriotic duty to pay one's taxes. Any business owner may so choose how much, and if they do choose to pay the Treasury. The ruling of this Supreme Court case essentially dictated that so long as the business benefits the economy, then they do not have to pay taxes. And this is what I try to teach people. The business is not necessarily about owning and running a business. Let's say you simply start the structure, you're a W-2 employee and maybe you're paying too much in taxes, and you decided to start some form of LLC or maybe a K-1 partnership and utilize that LLC or partnership to be able to deduct more off of what you make as a W-2 employee. This is completely sound and viable in accordance with the IRS tax law. So there is something that you can do if you are paying too much in taxes. And if you want to learn more, go ahead and click the link in my bio and follow along, and I will be happy to teach you.
So this video I wanted to use in this presentation, maybe you guys came over from my TikTok or my Instagram first, but if you want to learn more, you've got access to these platforms as well. So wherever you're coming from or going, you can use that. But I want you to read between the lines of this video. Basically, I'm saying here that there's more that meets the eye to owning a business. It's not just about running the business. Like, you don't have to be like an active participant. You just have to have income actively feeding into your business and a reason for it. So this is my journey as far as my side hustles go and how I've done the business world. And each time I started a new business or progressed within my business, it got better and better and better. However, I was not doing the most or what I could actually be doing. So what ended up happening is back in 2020, I had the realization that we were paying way too much in taxes. I was married at the time and I was a stay-at-home mom, and my ex was bringing in all the income, but he was up on the oil rig and I was alone with 2 toddlers. And I'm like, okay, we are like basically working to fund the government. Like almost half of what he was making was going to the government. And I'm like, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, things that I will never see or use that I haven't been using. But I'm having to suffer and sacrifice while he's gone all the time, like 4 to 5 weeks at a time with, you know, a toddler and a baby. And it was just way too much. And I was healing postpartum. It was just absolutely insane. So because of that, I'm like, I'm going to compensate for what we're losing in taxes, and I'm going to start my businesses, right? And so I've done an Etsy shop, fitness coaching and bodybuilding. I've taught yoga. I've done health coaching. I've done influencing. Like none of it, all of it was a hustle. All of it was a grind. And I truly believe that like influencing in these things are like the modern 9-to-5, where people get into it thinking it's freedom, but then you become confined to it. It actually becomes this same rat race that you're stuck in. So that's where I found myself, was stuck in this cycle and not being able to get out of it because I was like having to constantly grind for it. And I realized that I was not utilizing these business strategies or this side hustle as I should have. We also started investing into real estate. So we're like, okay, maybe we need passive income because we're both grinding, we're hustling. Like, how do we do this? And then we lost so much money due to the market loss. The house we bought ended up being a money pit. And then the other property that we invested into didn't end up going through because of 2020 and other issues. And like, there's just commercial real estate wasn't kicking it. And we had a mold lawsuit, and then we ended up going through a divorce because I felt like I was handling everything by myself. So we have been through the ringer. I have been through the ringer with trying to figure out how to compensate for the loss in taxes, how to invest into real estate, have passive income, or just kind of become free of this constant grind and hustle. Here's what I did wrong. Here's what you can do different. I did not make my side hustles a tax deductible event. As simple as that. I didn't start an actual LLC. Everything was Venmo, it's wherever it's, Etsy selling, PayPal, like it was just kind of undocumented, right? And then I just, if you're making under $600, you don't have to report it. So I was like, okay, if I keep it here and make up for taxes, no. I should have taken the loss and used my W-2, or his W-2 rather, to fund my LLC. The viable business side hustle, okay, listen to this, could have saved what we paid in taxes each year by acting as the payee, okay? So some of this might go over your head, and it's a lot, and it's, kind of detailed, but this is like the nitty-gritty details of how this works. We could pay our business corporation what we would have otherwise owed in taxes, thus making more and not having to grind for it. The LLC passes through such that it is taxed as a sole proprietorship, meaning that the profit or loss from that is reported as a Schedule C to the Form 1040 and can be effectively deducted against W-2 income. This is all within the IRS tax code. All of this is legal. We are not setting up some, tax shelter or something crazy. Like, this is all legal and totally accessible for everybody. Keep in mind, I've already mentioned this in my other little TikTok blurb that I had here. It's not even a patriotic duty to pay one's taxes. This Supreme Court case, Gregory versus Helvering, was all about being a business owner and paying taxes and how they were putting so much back into the business and still had to pay taxes. And basically the ultimatum or the end result of that was that you don't even have to pay taxes. Like, you should be able to choose if and when you pay taxes. And that still is applicable today, because here's where it gets juicy. The Pension Protection Act of 2006 allowed for small business owners to take advantage of what was normally only offered to large corporate entities like American Express, NFL, U.S. Postal Service. Go look up their pensions. Go look up what they do. This is what they do. This is what they do. So when O.J. Simpson has this pension and this crazy trust that nobody can break, why? Because of the NFL. Because of these large corporate entities that were exclusive to this pension process. But now, because of what happened in 2006 and the Pension Protection Act, we can all take advantage of it. Thank God for that. This is what allows us to completely deduct what you would otherwise pay in taxes paid by your business and owned by a revocable trust. Boom. So, next layer, we add the pension, we stick the money in the pension, you're able to completely deduct the money and keep it for the great wealth transfer. So take a look at this. Straight out the gate, just by using your tax dollars, let's say you make over 100K, and that's typically where we work. We start with 100K. If you make under six figures, typically there's to get away with not having to pay that much. And the thing is too, is if you're over six figures, it starts to become a little bit more painful at that point, and we also need capital to work with, okay? So that's typically the line I draw. However, I can talk with anybody, we can talk with anybody, we can go over your situation depending on how you are with your finances, okay? And I can do another video on this too. But basically straight out the gate, if you set up a pension, you automatically have a 24 to 37% ROI right out the gate. What else allows you to do that? What else? So this is what I did wrong, and this is where I completely missed the opportunity. And the loss was in simply not knowing, right? It was in ignorance. I lost the opportunity out of ignorance. I'm in it now. I was able to like redirect and refigure things out, but I missed an opportunity that could have been a lot easier than. So this is the end point we're getting to, right? We've talked about the W-2 strategy, how to hack your W-2 income, what we can legally do for it, how to keep the capital. And then you've got this nest egg after 5 years. And what do we do with it? According to research conducted by the financial market intelligence firm Cerulli and Associates, baby boomers and the silent generation will pass down a whopping $84 trillion in assets between now and 2045. Okay, so we've got about 20 years. Okay, 72.6 trillion of which will pass directly to their heirs. Okay, so that means that we still have $12 trillion to work with, which will not pass to heirs, because not all boomers have heirs and not all heirs want the assets. So this is an opportunity of a lifetime. This is considered to be the single greatest financial opportunity in America, short of the Gilded Age, with crude oil industry and railroad expansion and the dot-com bubble. I mean, people talk about the dot-com bubble all the time, like, oh, if you just got in with this, and now people are talking about crypto when this is happening. That's what I don't understand. Okay, fine, talk about crypto all you want. Maybe, maybe that's going to be, a thing, and it's going to be expanded, and it's going to be like the new form of currency. This is going to happen first. So why are we getting distracted with crypto when this is going on right now? And there's a very viable way to access it. So now you know the how, the numbers, and the why. But what do we do after that? Okay, so the pension needs to be in place for about 5 years. We've talked about that. That's in the Pension Protection Act. All of this is in the law. This does not mean you need to fund it every year. I've already mentioned that. But you can buy $1 million business with 100 grand. You can invest in real estate. You can live off the interest. It all depends on your idea of freedom. So basically come after 5 years, okay? 5 years, we have 20 years to access. Really, we only have like 7 if we look at like those who are passing away up front, because there's gonna be more people passing away now than later on, but it's gonna extend over 20 years. Anyways, basically, let's give yourself 5 years, okay? 5 years to prepare, to get ready for this, because it's just starting, right? We're just in the process of it, of the beginning. And it's gonna keep going, okay? And we're gonna have access to these things after 5 years. All of a sudden, there's more businesses to buy. And if you can buy $1 million business with 100 grand, $1 million businesses are what you want, because they have the systems and processes in place to essentially run themselves, and you can just kind of like fine tune it. If you buy anything less than that, you don't want it, because you're gonna have to manage it. You're gonna have to work as an employee for a long amount of time. And if you're already working a W-2 income, there's gonna be a lot more sacrifices. It's not gonna be very viable. But this is very possible. That means with a 6-figure W-2 income, you can realistically retire in 5 years if you strategize correctly. And I think you can all see this, like as I've been describing this along the way, I'm trying to like add little pieces here and there, and maybe it's going over your head. Maybe there's a lot that you're like, I'm not sure about this. That's why we can hop on a call, because every person's situation is going to be individual, and we're going to like reiterate different things. But I wanted to give you guys all of the good juice here. And these are people we've already helped. We've already been through this. This works. We know it works. It's all in accordance with the IRS tax law. We file the IRS documents every single year. And so here's a hypothetical situation for you. Let's say we set up the pension. We roll that money from the pension after 5 years into a self-directed IRA. Cool. And in accordance with the IRS, or the Pension Protection Act of 2006, we are allowed to roll the money from a pension into a self-directed IRA. Why is this significant? Because you can purchase anything short of your primary residence with an IRA. A lot of people don't realize this. They think an IRA is like a retirement account. Okay, kind of. It's more like this bucket, okay? This like tax bucket that you can use to like move things in and out without it being taxable. Because if you just take money out straight, it's all gonna be taxed. But if we move it into a self-directed IRA, we've got a little bit more leeway, and it's not a taxable event. You purchase your business without creating a taxable event. Again, so the IRA purchases the business. The IRA purchases your real estate investments. $1 million business has the right structures in place, I've already mentioned this, to run itself, but anything less than $1 million you have to build. So you buy this $1 million business with 100K down, okay? And then obviously there's more in the financing, and we have the right people to connect you with if you're already at that point. and you want to build on somebody else's work. And why would you do this? Because it allows you to have financial freedom and take advantage of this great wealth transfer and save in taxes. So once you are in a position to purchase and manage a business for cash flow, like I've mentioned, retirement as an appreciable asset, whatever your reasoning is for it, we have the right people and connections to provide you with this opportunity. However, you need to get started now. And we need to see where you're at in the process, because I can't tell you, right? I can do all these things for you. I can help you out with it, but I can't tell you what to do unless we see where you're at with everything and actually look at tax documents. April 15th is a tax deadline. And we can file an extension, yes, but it's coming up. Right now I'm posting this, it'll be today's April 2nd, and I'll be posting in the next couple days, but April 15th is right around the corner. You got 2 weeks, okay? So now is the time to act. And sorry, my graphics here are awful. I need to fix them. But basically we have 7 years to take advantage of this great wealth transfer. I already mentioned that before. Yes, there's a full 20, but really these next 7 years are crucial. Because if we don't take advantage of that, in the last 100 years, there's been no other opportunity other than the railroad and the oil and the .com. And so you're going to miss this opportunity if you don't take advantage of it now, which means in order to prepare and be ready for that, you have to start now, because a pension is going to take about 5 years, and then you're just going to keep funding the government over that time. And then by the time you actually decide after 5 years, this opportunity is going to be going away because other people are going to be taking advantage of it. So unless you win the lottery, right, we have to start now. Time is running out. That is what I'm trying to say, is based on the information I've gathered from other websites, other studies, economic studies. That's what's going on right now. And this is a huge opportunity, not just for, obviously it's for business owners, but the fact that a W-2 employee can take advantage of it just like anybody else is absolutely huge, because you're going to be paying the government anyways. The next steps then, like I've mentioned, I can't tell you what to do unless I actually look at the numbers and see what's going on in your life. So book the call. Link is in the bio. Link is at the bottom of the video. Book the call. You can copy and paste it, whatever works best for you. Go click on my homepage on YouTube, click there, and show up prepared.